Hey, I'm Red Protocol. I've hit new type every single season of Gundam Evolution, and I play in the North American pro scene for tournaments every once in a while.
Strong. Blue Jay has to be careful. He's dropped down to 1 HP, and Red Protocol is able to nade out two of them. He's getting cornered now as Amano tries to push up. He will fall for his effort. Red Protocol stays alive.
Alright, so it's 3 a.m. in the morning, and I'm too tired to play any games, but I'm also not tired enough to really fall asleep, so I'm actually going to stop procrastinating and record this tier list. So, Heavy Arms has come out. There's been some balance changes. We're going to go through, we're going to talk about the meta for Gundam Evolution. So, first off, we're going to talk about Asshimar. He got a little bit nerfed, but overall, still incredibly powerful. I'm going to throw him in the S tier. This video is going to be far quicker than the last one because I literally just made one of these a while ago. Most of it kind of holds true, but some of it changed a little bit. So yeah, Asshimar, he's changed a little bit, but overall, he's still insane. So S tier. Next up, Barb. Barb got nerfed. Not a good nerf, too. Not like a mini nerf. It's actually a pretty devastating nerf. Essentially, his stun on his F lasts 300 milliseconds less. And while that doesn't sound like a big nerf, it means you're not going to have a chance to really land your right click for free off of landing an F stun. So it's a pretty big nerf to Barb, but Barb is still Barb. He's still like this great assassin character that can be pretty devastating when used correctly. I'm going to throw him B tier. Alright, next up, Dom Trooper. Got slightly nerfed. Did not matter at all. This character is still must play on every single team comp, every single map. SS. Alright, Exia. Hasn't been touched this patch, but that's not a good thing because Exia was already kind of weak and he's still weak. I'm going to put him in the B tier alongside Barb, but he is definitely weaker than Barb. Alright, next up is Sniper. Sniper is a weird kind of character. I'm going to put him in his own tier. Essentially, he's only playable on a few maps, but the maps he's playable on, he's good. But to be honest, even on the maps he's playable on, he's not like must pick overpowered playable. He's just like playable. So I'm going to throw Sniper. He's in his own tier. He has like a few maps he's good at, but otherwise he's basically unplayable. So that's where Sniper's at. Next up, GM. I actually rank GM as like the weakest character in the game last. And I don't really think that's true anymore, actually. They added some damage reduction when you use your shield bash ability, which means you can actually get out of some really tight spots by using your shield bash correctly. I still do think that he is C tier, personally, in my experience. But I mean, hey, maybe I'm really wrong because the guy who's rank 1 in the game right now is like a GM main, so who knows, maybe I'm stupid. Alright, next up, Gundam. Putting him in C tier. Gundam actually doesn't really have a place in any sort of team comp right now. If you're picking Gundam, you're doing something wrong. Like, you're making your comp objectively worse by picking Gundam. There are just better characters that do his exact same job right now. It's a real shame because Gundam's, he's the iconic character. He's the Gundam. He's kind of like a staple. But yeah, he's basically like not playable right now. If you pick Gundam, you're trolling. Alright, next up, Guntank. Throwing him also in the C tier. Guntank's not as weak as you think he is, but he's still kind of weak. His revive passive is actually massive, and his overall damage output is actually pretty decent, and his charge ability is really underrated, but his ultimate is pretty bad, and a lot of the damage he does is what I refer to as fake damage, because you can't effectively focus it on one target, and if you are focusing on one target as Guntank, you're just doing worse damage than you would on another character. So yeah, that's why I don't think Guntank is that strong right now. Sad, he's a funny little guy. Mahiroo. I'm gonna put him in the C tier, but he's actually the worst character in the game right now. Mahiroo, he has a few maps he's okay on, but to be frank, he's just not a strong character. He doesn't do enough direct damage, and while his ricochet damage is really annoying for enemies, when the fight actually starts, it's really easy to miss his Mahiroo, and then when your shots are all landing, you're still not doing that much damage. His ult is pretty good though, so that's cool. Alright, Marasai. I'm gonna throw him in the C tier as well, actually. I thought Marasai was going to become a lot better with his patch from before, and he was, but the meta doesn't really work for Marasai. To be frank, Melee's kind of weak right now, and if Melee's weak, the other team's going to be running a lot of shields to defend from range, and if the other team's running shields, that means Marasai's hook is getting blocked a lot. So with that in mind, Marasai's hook getting blocked means Marasai's not very powerful, so yeah, Marasai C tier. Sad, because I think it's a fun character, and I think the buffs have actually put him in the right direction. Alright, next up, Zaku Melee, also in the C tier. Zaku Melee does not do enough when he's not in rage. He's pretty weak when he's not in rage, and when he is in rage, he's pretty strong, and his ultimate, also pretty good, but not as good as it once was, and again, like I said, when he's just not in his rage, he's not a very big threat, not a scary character, doesn't do enough for the team, so C tier he goes. Methuss. Pretty big nerf to Methuss this most recent patch. His healing got reduced from 100 to 80, and his twin shot got buffed. So you might think, oh, okay, even Stevens. Nah, not really. The healing debuff is pretty big, and he's not exactly a powerful character right now, especially if you're solo queuing. His ult's unchanged though, so if you want to do alt combos, that's still viable. But with the Methuss change, I'm gonna throw him in the B tier. Not very powerful. All right, new Gundam. New Gundam got buffed. The cooldown on his funnels got increased slightly, but they do more damage, and he gained 100 HP. New Gundam SS tier, unbelievable character, very powerful. The funnels absolutely destroy people now if you get multiple tags, and the 100 more HP just means you're able to sustain a bit more. You have some more uptime. You have more chance to just get your shots off to land your tags, which lets you do more damage with your funnels. In my mind, New Gundam was always very powerful, to be honest. And so this patch has made him just very, very strong. Big fan of New Gundam. All right, next up, Pale Rider. All right, Pale Rider, very, very powerful. He got buffed in the most recent patch. They basically took away a bunch of his nerfs, so his healing's insane. He has more ammo in his clip, and with more ammo in his clip, he's recharging his ultimate faster. And if you're recharging his ultimate faster, his ultimate is still insane. So Pale Rider is just insane. Pale Rider, SS tier, kind of like Dom, every single comp, every single map, no matter what, you run a Pale Rider right now. He'll be ahead of New Gundam, by the way, because Pale is insane. Zaku 2 range. I'm going to throw him in the S tier, actually. He got buffed as well. Right now, Zaku 2 range is very effective at play. He's great at health pack control. You just run around, take all the health packs, be a nuisance. He's great at getting past enemy lines and people making defense have to give up their position and go deal with him. Domination, like I said, health pack control, but he's also just a big nuisance. And he actually has a good amount of damage now, and he's really hard to deal with right now. He shifts in, shoots at you for a bit. He's recharged 1 bar of a shift by that point. Then he shifts away, pops his E so you can't hit him, and he gets another free bar of dash so you can dash away, get some health back, and then go back and harass you right again. And it's going to all happen again and again and again. Second 2 ranged, very powerful right now. All right, Sazabi, you're going to throw him in the A tier. With melee being weaker, Sazabi's going up. But lots of people doing lots of damage, Sazabi goes down. But in the end of the day, Sazabi is still very strong. His gun does decent damage at close range. His scam ability is very powerful. His axe is very strong, and his shield is just really good. He's one of the only real tanks in the game. All right, turn A, C tier. Turn A got nerfed a while ago. It was unnecessary, and it's really biting him in the ass now. Other characters are just so powerful that kind of like Gundam, they're just not a good reason to really run turn A right now. His ult, awesome. Otherwise, pretty weak. So that's where turn A kind of sits right now, and that's a shame because turn A is a pretty cool character. All right, Unicorn Gundam. I'm gonna throw him in the S tier. Unicorn Gundam got buffed this most recent patch. Now he provides passive armor to his teammates while they're nearby him, up to 100 armor. That's really big. That means Unicorn himself essentially has 100 more max HP. With your E pop, that means you go up. You're at 800 from your base health, 900 with the armor improvement, and then another 300, putting you at 1200 armor or health in total when your armor is at its peak as a Unicorn. That's insane for a healer. While he's not really a healer in the normal sense, he provides armor to the team. It's really powerful. It's really strong, and he's still overall just like a good character. Otherwise, he has a great ult, decent damage on his gun, and his funnels are a pain to deal with if you're an enemy character. So yeah, Unicorn, S tier, really good. I'm a big fan. All right, last up, Hyperion. He's also going to go in the A tier, in my opinion. He got slightly nerfed in this most recent patch, but to be frank, it was just his damage on his gun, and that's not a big deal. I think they mainly wanted to deal with the fact that he was incredibly strong in the 1v1, and yeah, I think that's fine. To be frank, the strength of Hyperion right now is his bubble, and that wasn't changed, so Hyperion is still strong. Now, the last character is Heavy Arms, but he's not on this website, so I'm going to have to throw him in myself, but I'm going to throw Heavy Arms in the B tier. I think Heavy Arms is unplayable unless you're playing him on defense on certain maps, but when you're playing him on defense on certain maps, Heavy Arms can actually get a good amount of value. His little rocket ability, the burn damage on it's pretty strong, prevents healing for a while, and does more damage than you think it's going to do. His left click and right click too, since it's the same thing, they actually do a lot of damage when they're fully going. His ult's pretty good. I don't think it's as insane as I thought it was going to be, but it's still pretty good. His flip ability is whatever, but his movement is pretty poor actually. So now that I'm talking out of my head, I'm actually going to throw him in the C tier. Yeah, now that I've talked out of my head, Heavy Arms is C tier. Yeah, he's only really playable on defense because in order to do the most damage with him, you need to be holding your right click so your guns are fully charged. If your guns are charged, you're not moving. So it's really hard to play him effectively on attack, but on defense, you can be more effective with him. But still, with how powerful other characters are right now, you're probably better off just playing someone else. Also, I know some people asked on the other video to make a casual version of this tier list, so I'm just going to rearrange the pictures, and that's the casual list. So, top to bottom, strongest to weakest if you're solo queuing and just playing with people who are going to have no coordination. Alright, that's my list.